Good morning, everybody. This is Eureka John with Eureka Street Crypto Hub, broadcasting live from Theta TV at 8:41 in the morning on September 4th, 2021 from Leander, Texas. And it's Saturday. It's Labor Day weekend. I don't expect there to be a lot of Theta traffic today because a lot of people are in traffic today. And that's okay. And I am basically doing this every single morning, and it's been going consecutively since February 6th, 2021, and I've been broadcasting on Theta TV Live since October 24th, 2020. And this is my video blog, and it's basically all it is. I'm not your teacher, and I'm not your financial advisor or anything like that. I'm just basically here to talk about crypto so I don't bug my friends, family, and coworkers and everybody else around me about it. This is my outlet. So as a result, I've gotten to get involved in some crypto communities, learn about a lot of cool projects, and I don't really invest for price. I invest for concept and fundamentals. And then I've gotten involved in the Bankless DAO. And as a result, I've gotten to meet some really cool people there. And as you can probably see, maybe my my live streaming game is kind of upped a little bit in quality. And hopefully anyway, my first episodes are kind of cringeworthy. But as a result, I've met some really cool people, and one of these people is here with me today, and it's Daniel Morrow with Sovereign Health and Wellness, and he's in the Bankless DAO with me, and we got to talking, and he runs some pretty cool projects over there, and is heavily involved in helping people to keep in mind their wellness and their health when they're every single day working online behind a computer in a DAO. Maybe some people in the DAO don't have the best health access, and Daniel is there to kind of remind us of that concept when we get so buried deep in the crypto world. So I will open up this window. I had CoinGecko up and I was going to go through the price, but as you can see, Bitcoin's at 50,000, so we're all good, and Ethereum's at 3902, so right on. So let's go ahead and move on today. It is Labor Day weekend, and let's meet Daniel right here. Hey Daniel, how's it going? And
hey everyone, I'm doing well. How's everything on your guys' end here?
Oh man, we're doing good. I'm doing good anyway. I can kind of hear the kids, so if the natives are a little restless this morning, it's a little later than normal than I broadcast, so the whole house is up. Normally I do it in the wee hours of the morning when it's still dark. But yeah, not everybody wants to get up at the butt crack of dawn like me. So, but
yeah, right.
Yeah, but anyway, I'll let you go.
Right, so I come into my free classes at 6:30 in the morning.
Oh yeah. Well, he's doing it too, but he's not in front of his screen, which is good. So. But let me go ahead and let you introduce yourself and talk about how you got involved in the Bankless DAO, and then what you're doing with Sovereign Health and Wellness, and we'll get to all that stuff. But first, I just kind of want to know, who you are and what brought you to this show today.
Yeah, of course. I feel like that's a loaded question, brother.
Who are you?
Yeah, like how far back are we talking here? Do we want to talk preconception?
Yeah. Very existential, right?
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm up here in Canada. If you are in Bankless, you probably know me. Or anywhere you've seen me online, you probably know me as some sort of a random gift guy. I'm not. I have like 3 different forms of typing when you see me online. I will go Twitter short, and that's the end of it. Or I will type you a novel that you don't want to read. Or I'll just send you a gift that makes you question if it's even relevant to what you were just saying to me. And the gift is just more my way of having fun and just like, throwing a pattern interrupted to people's days to either make them laugh or make them think. And sometimes it's just like, Daniel, get out of here. What are you doing? But for the most part, yeah, I like to have fun. I just like to get people laughing, like to rally, collaborate, build relationships, right? Relationships, they really do make the world go round. They're key in every part of life. Mm-hmm. What brought me here is before the whole pandemic and all that stuff hit, we won't get into that. I was I spent time throughout my career life as a chef, as a financial advisor in different areas of finance and stuff. COVID hit. I was doing business loans at the time and needed to pivot because guess what? All of our businesses are shut down and nobody wants to give money to a business that isn't producing any revenue. So that left me going, well, what can I do here? And I was like, man, I love to cook. I love to eat. I love to work out. I love all this stuff. And there's like, it's so evident right now that if we spent more time taking care of ourselves, we wouldn't have a lot of issues that we do in life. And I'm like, this needs to be changed. And I know there's like I know there's way too many voices in that melting pot, but I'm going to jump in there. I'm going to dive in and I'm going to go make as much of an impact as possible, which led me to questioning, where can I serve? Where am I best to serve? And when I took into account like my life experience, my working history and stuff like that, and I was watching the crypto space come up, the marijuana space come up. That's legal up here in Canada just before anybody gets all butthurt. So we're a little bit more open towards that kind of stuff than some countries. Mm-hmm. But I was like, man, like crypto, I'm like, this could be a really great place to be. Like, I know that when I was licensed, I had the golden handcuffs on. Regulators were like, stay away, don't even mention it, nothing like that. Put the fear of God in us type deal. I'm not licensed anymore. So I started diving in.
What type of license is this? Like a financial services license?
Dude, I had my mutual funds, my exempt market, private equity license, and I had life and health insurance as well.
And they don't let you keep your license if you bring up crypto?
Back in, like, because I dropped my licenses in 2018. So back in those times, like 2014 to 2018, the regulators were all like, ooh, crypto, devil, right? Like it was like, we think it's harsh now, but it's not as harsh as it used to be back when all of this stuff was still pretty new, right?
Okay.
So being a licensed advisor, you're considered a steward by the regulators, and like they're just anal about what they let you do or not.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay. Huh. So you weren't allowed to have personal bags where you can bring it up and stuff like that?
I'm sure I could have, but dude, the one place that I was working, they went, I took a digital marketing course, and buddy said you got to post like 4 to 8 times a day on Twitter. So I started doing that for a couple of years. The compliance office at this one place I worked, through like 4 to 8 posts a day, went back 4 years in my Twitter profile. Like the times before I was even licensed, asking me to take posts down that could be misconceived as advice or whatever. And I just eventually, once they got to the 4-year mark, I was like, I'm done.
Yeah.
Like I'm not even going that far back in my own social media, because I know how much I post for marketing purposes some days or whatever. I'm like, this ain't happening. I'm like, this ain't the industry for me.
Yeah, for sure.
So I went to business loans because it's still the wild, wild west.
Okay.
Just like crypto.
Yeah. Oh, that's. I didn't know you had a finance background as well. I mean, I just thought you were this fitness guru, and that's what you've always been and everything. So now I'm kind of able to understand how you kind of brought yourself into the crypto world a little more and ended up in the DAO. So it's because of your financial background, right? And then your current passion for fitness.
Yeah, like the DAO just kind of happened. I wasn't even expecting that, right? So like I was like, okay, well, if this is a market that I want to support, that I want to serve in, I need to find reputable places to learn about the market, right? And learn about the landscape, what's going on.
Yeah.
And Brave kept showing me ads for Bankless. And so I checked it out, and I went down the YouTube rabbit hole for a while there. This was only back in like March, April of this year too, like not very long ago. And I'd say, well, okay. I'm like, well, shit, these guys are like 10 years younger than me. Like they seem to have their shit together. They're well articulated. I was like, hey, well, let's just sign up and let's learn Discord a little bit and network in the community. And like 3 weeks after that, they're like, oh, hey, here's a big airdrop. We're launching a DAO. It's your DAO. Go hard. Here's how to get in and do all this stuff. And I was like, I don't even know what a DAO is. I have no idea what they're talking about. But me, I'm like, I'll dive in head first and then I'll ask questions later.
Yeah.
So I just like jumped right in and I'm like, okay, this is cool. This is cool. This is cool. And next thing you know, I'm here.
Right on.
It just kind of happened.
Yeah, I mean, I had the same thing. You know, I was had a subscription to Bankless, and I was listening to their long, interviews and shows that they do on YouTube and on Spotify on my commute. So I was like, okay, it's worth it. And then for my own show, I thought it would be a great source. And then next thing you know, I got this airdrop, and then I suddenly went in and had to learn Discord. So I don't know how old you are, but for me, Discord was nothing I've ever messed with. So it was kind of a weird concept, and the DAO as well. So how would you explain a DAO? I want to hear.
Man, I don't even know how to explain it. When I try and explain it, I just seem to get glazed over eyes, or why are you involved in something that's going to completely fail? Because they think of the first DAO or whatever, right? And the horror stories for all that. But for me, like the way I describe a DAO, and I don't even really, I now have a very unique way of explaining it without even explaining it, what it is. But the way I look at it, without using the terminology, is like, there is no reason whatsoever in today's society that you cannot be a functioning member of society. Like, we literally live in a world where you can just walk into a digital, like, not really walk, but you can virtually walk into a digital workspace, say, I see value here, I can serve here, I can make an impact here. You just show up and you put your head down, you bump elbows, you make friends, you demonstrate that you have the skills, and you'll get a job in one way or another. Whether you're collecting bounties, whether somebody wants to put you on like some sort of a salary role, a quarterly commission type structure, whatever, like you can literally just find a working opportunity by walking in somewhere and contributing.
Okay, yeah.
Like it's such a wonderful time to be alive, and that's how I describe it.
Yeah, absolutely,
and like
100%.
Yeah, and I think like I don't know why, that probably my health background, but this is stuck in my head, and I think it was Ryan RSA on the Bankless podcast, or maybe it was one of their podcasts. I'm probably not even remembering the person right, but they said something like, "For all we know, our most valuable player is in bed 24/7 with a permanent disability, and we wouldn't even know."
Yeah.
Like, the internet is the great equalizer. You don't know where people are, who they are, where they're from, what their situation is. Like, we might, for all we know, we have somebody, for all we know, a portion of our people, they can't do anything because they can't get out of bed. Like, they don't have a society or a place or whatever you want to call it to belong to. But like, here in the DAO space on the internet, like, it really is as simple as just virtually walking in somewhere saying hi.
Yeah.
And just like demonstrating what you know, and you can have an abundance of opportunities just dropped in your lap. And that's how I look at it, and that's how I describe it to people.
Yeah, that is an amazing way to describe it. Actually, I think that's 100% accurate. It's a spot where there's no top-down centralization. Everybody has kind of an equal opportunity in a way to jump in with whatever they can have and bring to the table, and it is a level playing field. So you don't know code, do you, or programming or anything like that?
That's the caveat that I struggle with every single day, is how do I fit myself into a world where I have no skills that world values?
Yeah, so
right?
Crypto's a very tech heavy, type of, I hate to use the word industry, but culture, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's not me. I don't know how to code or do any of this. but I know how to lead. I know how to help people act with courage. I know how to build teams. I'm I get told all the time in Bankless that I have a very unique skill for being able to bring people together and rally people to get stuff done. So I have a lot of skills that are valuable in the space. But for those out there listening that are like me, we just need to get creative in order to place ourselves.
Yes, yes.
Right? Look beyond the Solidity devs and the bots and whatever,
Mm-hmm.
and find places to bring people together, or build the culture up. There's so many different things that are valuable outside of the tech. We just need to find them in us.
Absolutely. I do know a little bit. I've built a few websites and I've tried to be a programmer, and I'm not, but
Yeah.
I'm interested in the tech and I'm interested in crypto, but I can understand how a lot of people say, oh, that's just techie stuff, or that's just for IT people and stuff like that. I don't want to be involved in crypto because they just hear that word in it. I hate to use the say trigger, but it triggers them in a way, and they just kind of immediately just write it off. But you've demonstrated that you can come into a decentralized autonomous organization, look around, figure out what needs to be done, pick up a broom and do it, and that's pretty amazing. So so give me a little background on your interest in health and wellness.
My interest is I should be dead like hundreds of times over. I won't exaggerate that one too much. We'll go with hundreds
Fair
instead.
enough.
But yeah, like if you knew me even like 5-10 years ago, you probably wouldn't even recognize me anymore. Like if you saw me in the past or whatever, knowing me now, you probably wouldn't even realize it was like the same person or nothing. Like, but we all know the hospitality industry is somewhat a party industry,
Mm-hmm.
party culture.
I've been a server before, I know.
I took it to the edge.
Yeah.
What's that?
I've been a server before.
Oh, I took it to the edge when I was a cook. Like
Okay.
there were some days I was so spun out at work, I would be falling asleep at the prep counter as I'm trying to cut up food. There were days where I would go online, I would rip everything out of one of the coolers and I would crawl in there to fall asleep because I was overheating, borderline overdosing on the staff bathroom floor on multiple occasions. Just like stupid shit. Like some days I couldn't even hold myself up, let alone show up to work, but I was still there working away. And when I left that industry and I started getting into insurance, I was like, I need to operate with an integrity. So if I am recommending some of this, like if I am recommending this stuff to people, I should know how it works and I should leverage it for myself.
Mm-hmm.
And I do see value and merit in it. I did it at the time, not anymore. So I was like, yeah, like let's go. Well, what I ended up finding out on my medical information bureau report, I had gotten declined for life insurance, but I had gotten declined because my liver and kidneys were so damaged from all the drugs and the alcohol that they were failing. They were failing, and they were secreting bile into my bloodstream.
Yeah, septic shock in a way.
Yeah, so I was quite literally on my deathbed without realizing it because I was just stuffing more stuff down. Like it's all just going down my nose and in my belly anyways.
Yeah.
So if I'm feeling a little bit off, let's just take a little bit more, right?
Yeah.
And take that edge off, and it's just spiral. And I was like, shit, like I was in my early 20s at that time too, and I'm like, shit, like I haven't even lived yet. I'm just graduated high school. Like I haven't even left my crappy town of 200,000 people. Like I need to live. I need to I don't want to be this guy, right? And like I woke up one day, I sat out of my garden with the cigarette. I just completely broke down. I grabbed the last of the pills and whatever I had. I shoved it down my face. I was driving a 92 Plymouth Laser at the time.
Oh, wow.
I grabbed everything that I could that I felt was valuable to me at that point in time, threw it in my car, smashed my phone, started my car, and I just started driving. Like, that was it. I just started driving. I ended up like 8-10 hours away. Called a friend who I knew was somewhat close. I guess subconsciously I was going to that friend. I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe it was just the universe providing for me, saying, hey, I support you in getting out of this lifestyle. So here you go, type deal. But I ended up crashing with her, cleaned up my life, stuff like that, kept going down the financial services route. And then, like, with COVID and everything, I'm like, look, I'm in a good position to help people get better. Like, if I can go from pretty much being on my deathbed to my current doctor now saying that he's never seen anybody as healthy as me walk through his doors in all of his times, like, that's a pretty stark contrast.
Yeah.
Deathbed, healthiest patient I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't compute. Right. So I'm like, I'm in a perfect position to wherever people are, like, it doesn't matter. Like, just block out the noise and do something, because that something is going to add up very quick given the context of where you are.
Yeah.
So just start, just do something.
That's a really amazing testimony in a way of being able to, you know, be in a place where you think you're boxed in and then break out and your life is completely changed 100% within a couple years. And especially during the COVID era, I can see how it would be so easy. And a lot of people suffered from addiction and, you know, from suicides and depression during the lockdown and everything like that, which I'm accounting for the huge surge in crypto and in, you know, the financial markets and everything like that, because all the sports teams were shut down, culture was shut down, and you were locked in your house. So you either went one way, you went the way of addiction, or you went the way of leaning into it and finding other ways to channel your energy through health, through you know, jumping into crypto and learning and education. Because crypto to me is not just about, you know, a lot of people say, oh, it's just like gambling. No, it's not. It's really about education, and it's about learning about all these different aspects of, you know, philosophy, sociology, psychology, game theory, programming, you name it. You know, there's a ton of aspects in crypto. So you can lean into education and wellness, or you can lean into addiction and depression with the COVID.
Yeah.
And you seem to have chosen the first one. So that's really awesome.
I was like, I'm not going back to, I know where those places lead. I'm not going back.
Well, I'm sure that me and you could have a whole lot to talk about, because I have a similar type of testimony. You know, I quit drinking, I guess, a few months before COVID started. So, and it was pretty heavy. That's all I got to say. And I won't go into the details of it, but I'm right there 100% with you. I can relate. So.
And just feeling like the energy and everything like that every day, like it's no comparison.
Yeah.
Like I'm to the point where, like, don't get me wrong, I'm not one of those, like, I guess straight edge, for lack of a better term, like, oh my gosh, like no weed, no alcohol, no nothing, like, get out of here with that, and you know, all stuff. Like, that's not me. Like, I still, like, I do like to have a beer every now and then. Like, I'm not gonna. I got a couple beer in the fridge. I walked down for a case last night. But the thing is like, I can have one or two beers, great. But as soon as I start feeling that buzz kick in, my mind I know where my mind goes.
Yeah.
Because I already know I've hit a point where I'm gonna wake up with a hangover. I don't like waking up with a hangover, because I am not myself, and I am not in a position to do what helps me maintain my headspace. So, like, I just don't. Like, I'll go out, visit family or whatever, and have a couple drinks. But, like, even with friends, it's like, I don't want to deal with the hangover. I don't want to deal with feeling like I need to sleep all day. Like, I'm in my 30s now. A hangover can last me a week, and I don't even need to tie one on. Like, I can have 4 beer and be hungover for a week. It depends on how much water, how much I've eaten, what I've eaten, all of those different factors. I'm like, it's not worth it, because I don't like feeling like garbage like that anymore. I lived like that for way too long.
Yeah, it
Like,
can really
I
change
like
you.
getting up at 6 in the morning, doing my workout, having my super greens, meditating, and just doing what I need so that I can not only feel like a decent human being, but show up in Bankless and the other places I'm involved and be a decent human being.
Mm-hmm.
Because if we are feeling run down, if we are feeling like a piece of garbage, whether we realize it or not, we're not on our A game, and we're going to treat people differently. We might be a little bit more assertive. We might be a little bit more passive aggressive, or maybe we're a little bit more aggressive in our communication.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe we turn into a doormat. Our personalities are so vast, and it's like I know what it's like to feel like a piece of garbage, and I know what it's like to be the person feeling like a piece of garbage, taking it out on everybody to bring everybody down to my level. And it's like, I know that capacity is in me. It might not ever go away. So I accept it, and I just don't welcome it into my life anymore.
That's rad. And you're doing a great job. You created the Sovereign Health channel in there, and you've been reminding people consistently within the DAO how important your wellness is, because it does come out, like you said, in the type of online scenario that the DAO is built upon. You can't see people's faces, and you can't see them in person. So your wellness comes out in your keystrokes, and you've been able to demonstrate the importance of that. And so tell me a little bit more about the channels you've created, and maybe about your Sovereign Health website and the academy and stuff like that, and what you're doing here. And you're also in the UMA DAO, I see, as well. So
yeah.
Yeah.
I've also been involved with UMA for a little bit here, admin manager over there. That's exciting.
Yeah.
But Sovereign Health was basically just a rebrand of a lot of stuff that I was already doing. Because like I've got a few different qualifications for online trainer, animal flow, unbeatable mind, stuff like that. And my old brand was, when I was trying to get that going in Bankless there, I found my old brand did not fit crypto culture. Like my old brand was, I don't know how to people who know me and people who see me, I'm a very default aggressive type person. Not in rip your face off, but it's like, something needs to be done, you do it. Like, okay. That's it. Just you meet the challenges head on, you get stuff done, you don't need to worry about it, you have no more stress, no nothing.
No bureaucracy.
Live free, just get in, get out.
Yeah.
And that attitude doesn't always resonate in crypto. Yep. Sometimes it's seen as elitist. There seems to be quite, if you want to relate it to archetypes, the DAO space is very much like an Athenian mentality. They like to sit around, talk, debate, feel things out, massage each other, right? And it's very political, whereas I have more of a Spartan mentality. And I'm just like, Aru, let's go, right? Like, we don't need to talk. Let's just find an 80% solution. Let's get it done. Let's get it out the door, because that 80% solution is always going to outperform 100% solution, because you're never going to execute it. You're going to be planning for your whole life, right? So the way that my messaging and my programs and stuff were brought was just turning people off. They're like, this is crypto culture. We're not about that, I guess, more abrasive, up in your face, elitist type attitudes, right? That warrior, rah, 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 let's go. Like that's not us. So there's a number of people back there in Bankless who I had those talks with continually, Koros, Joe, Frog, like a bunch of those guys. We just kept going back and forth on it as I was trying to understand, like we were trying to understand each other's mentality, but I was also trying to figure out, how can I bridge these gaps, not necessarily integrity gaps, but how can I bridge these gaps?
Okay.
And then so I just ended up rebranding to Sovereign Health and Wealth, because it's like crypto, a big part of crypto. I like crypto for the self-sovereignty, right?
Yeah.
I value my freedom, my autonomy, my independence. I want to do what I want to do when I want to do it, and I don't want to have to worry about anything. Like, not a price tag, not about the weather, not about nothing. It's just like, okay, cool. I'm in a position to go out and do it because I can, and that's what makes me happy. The end. Right?
That's awesome.
So that's how kind of sovereign got brought into it. And then I'm like, well, you can't have your health, or you can't have your wealth without your health. And I saw that time and time again in the insurance industry. I can't tell you how many times I was sitting at a coffee shop getting screamed at by somebody because they were disabled. They lost their house. They lost their marriage. They lost their kids. They lost their cars. They lost their job. They want some disability insurance, but guess what? You can't unring the bell. You're already disabled. That's the way that the industry works. That doesn't make it right. That doesn't make it positive, because it's definitely not a positive thing. It sucks. But I was that guy. I got yelled at by tons of people that I had never even met before because they wanted insurance. And I'm like, dude, I feel you. I can't get life insurance. I will never be able to get in life insurance for as long as I live. I can't get that off my file.
Yeah.
Like, I'm going to get declined wherever I go, unless I go for a guaranteed issue and I'm paying 20 times what everybody else is paying. It's not going to happen.
Yeah.
So I learned firsthand, like, if you're not healthy, it doesn't matter what you have for wealth. It doesn't matter the size of your bags. It's gone.
Yeah.
It's gone, and there's nothing you can do about it, and you might not even be able to get it back. And I've seen tons of people lose their empires over it.
Yeah.
So that brought in the sovereign health, and then thinking about wealth, it's like, right now I'm only very abstract in my correlation to crypto. So let's tie it into there so I can loop financial conversations in a way that's more seamless, and people are like, well, you're labeling yourself as a health company. Why are you talking about finance?
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. So health and wealth kind of just made it a little bit more, kind of gave me a little bit of a broader umbrella that I could paint within.
Well, health and wealth
to design
kind of
this
feed
kind of
off
stuff
of each
out.
other. You know, it's hard to be healthy if you don't really have the resources at your disposal in order to be able to be healthy. But it's hard to be wealthy if you aren't healthy. So it's a cyclical type of feedback loop in a way.
It is. And that's that's a mindset that gets in the way of a lot of people. And it's hard, but it's one of my favorite things to coach people out of. And we overthink it. Like, it honestly, it doesn't matter. Like, if you're tight on money, you can go for a walk.
Mm-hmm.
You probably have $500 earbuds and a $2,000 phone sitting in your pocket, so you have money somewhere.
Yeah.
But you can always pop in your headphones and go for a walk.
Yeah.
You can always do push-ups. You can always go to a table or put the back end of your truck down and do some pull-ups. Like, the world is your playground. You don't need money to go out and actually be healthy. You don't need to spend $500 a month on a gym membership or a personal trainer. Like, you can, and it helps, but you don't need it.
Yeah.
And even when it comes to our diet, like, the thing is there's general consensuses on how food impacts us, but there's also genetics, hereditary things. There's not every food, not every style of eating is going to impact us all the same. At the end of the day, it still comes down to calories in, calories out. But we overcomplicate it and we oversimplify it. If we just stop complicating it and we look at it, food is fuel. That's it. Some is going to fuel you better than others. If you go to McDonald's, you're getting a lot of calories, and those calories have zero nutrition, so you're packing on pounds for nothing. You could have a salad, which is lower calories, but it's nutrient dense. It may not leave you full for quite as long, but you're having a much better quality of fuel in you, comparatively speaking. Right? And I'm not saying, like, go out and eat rabbit food 24/7. Nobody would like that. But, like, we don't have to complicate it that much. And there's been a lot of studies. There's been a lot of studies that have come out. There's been a lot of studies that come out that have looked at how we think versus what happens. And it's been proven that how we think about food and how we think about food and healthy activity will impact how it affects us, how it impacts us. So if you have yourself convinced that you can't eat a beef patty without gaining 10 pounds, guess what? You're going to eat that beef patty and see an extra 10 pounds on your scale. If you convince yourself that it's just fuel, whatever, it's food, it's fuel, that's it, that's its purpose, you're not going to notice that massive scale change when you go and eat those foods anymore. You're going to notice a lot more stability. So just taking that step back and saying, fuel is fuel, exercise is exercise, fitness, like movement and exercise. We'll break it up. Movement is, okay, my watch went off, I'm going to get a stretch in every hour, or I'm going to go walk, grab a glass of water every hour. I'm going to get the blood flowing and get off of my desk or wherever you're chilling at, right? And then exercise would be you're getting your sweat on, right? That's whether you're going to the gym, you're going to a calisthenics park, you're grabbing your skateboard, your rollerblades, whatever, you're getting a bit of sweat on. That's your more high intense activities. Right? Just how we think about that stuff is going to determine the impact that it has on us as well. So it's easy to convince ourselves that we can't get healthy if we don't have the money to do it, but we're neglecting the only part that matters, and that's ourselves. We just need to do something. You start doing something, things are going to start working, and you could slowly start layering on more and more habits to support you.
Interesting how you say about, if I eat this cheeseburger, I'll gain 10 pounds, and that's kind of a person's relationship with food is very determining. And the same thing, I would say the same thing with money as well. The way people view money also determines their wealth. And so, I mean, I've come to view money very differently than I used to. And, as a result, things are doing pretty well. So, and so it's not just because I've jumped into crypto that I'm suddenly, doing financially better. It's because I've changed my perspective of what money is, and I've also changed my perspective of what being healthy is, and so they've kind of fed on each other. So.
Yeah, and I like that too, and I say that about crypto too quite often when people are struggling to understand it or whatever. They're like, there's no, like, have fun losing all your money.
Yeah.
Like have fun being that guy. I'm like, look, you could tell me that it has no value all you want, but what about your car?
Yeah.
What about your house? What about the phone that you're holding? None of that has value either. The only reason it has value is because we as a culture, society, whatever you want to call us, we perceive it to have value. We draw the line in the sand and say, this is what it's worth. Right? It's the same thing with crypto. It's just another idea, and it has value because we're giving it value. That's it.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what we're talking about. You can talk about the shirt, my necklace, my hat. It's all the same.
Yeah.
And you could take two people with Honda Civics, for example, and ask the exact same make, model, tread, everything, and say, like, what do you think your car is worth? They're going to give you two totally different valuations for their car because they perceive it to be worth, it's their intrinsic value is being placed on it.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter what the context of what we're talking, whether it's crypto, fiat, real estate, whatever. Like, to me, it's all the same. It's just ideas in air, and the only value it has is whatever value we give it as a collective. That's it.
Nice. Yeah, and you've completely embraced that, and you bring it to the Tao, and every single day you're encouraging others and trying to remind them to focus on that part of their life and not just look at number go up and stuff like that.
Yeah. Win full-time Dow Moon.
Yeah. So anyway, I guess we're about at time here. We're 9 minutes over time. I get involved in what you guys are saying when I interview people, and I
yeah.
totally don't even look at the clock, and it's not really that important. But you know, you try to keep it within some kind of rough framework, right?
I didn't even answer about the programs yet.
Yeah,
either,
yeah. So talk
cool.
a little bit about that. I want to reserve a few minutes at the end here for that, and yeah.
Oh, I was gonna say we don't need to get into it. It can be a surprise for everybody when they come check us out in Bankless. That's cool.
Well, how would people get a hold of you and to at least just look up your website and your program?
Yeah, so Sovereign is very long and hard to type. I think I had a feeling a lot of people might misspell it because I misspell it often myself. So I shortened it to SOV, S-O-V, coach.com.
Okay, sovcoach.com. Okay, and I see here on my screen for this video, I put Sovereign Health and Fitness. My apologies. I don't know why in my head. Yeah, it's Sovereign Health and Wealth. And yeah, and now that we've been talking about the feedback loop and the relationship, I guess the synergy, to use a buzzword, between health and wealth and how they actually are correlated with each other and intertwined with each other. I'm really glad that I'd say that's a really good concept to unpack that we talked about here. And yeah, thanks for reminding me of that. How our health and wealth are intertwined. You know, so you can't have one without the other in a way. So.
Yeah, sometimes I go on these tangents and I remind myself too. Something will come up subconsciously and it's like, you created an integrity gap when you said that because you've been dropping the ball over here.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, I got to start doing that again.
No, that is a great takeaway from this show today, is how our health and our wealth are intertwined. So yeah, thanks for that. Anyway, so I just want to say that there will be a POAP for this show. So I'm going to be uploading this to YouTube, BitChute, and Odyssey. And if you watch this show, show me a screenshot. I will give some POAPs to Daniel, and then I'll have some POAPs, and you can hit either one of us up on Twitter or however you want to hit us up, and just say, hey, can I have the POAP? And we'll send you the link to the POAP. So yeah, so anyway, thanks for coming on. This is a great show, and it's a great way to spend a Saturday morning and Labor Day weekend to remind us, you know, that with all the work we do need to take a time to reflect on and relax, and to reflect on ourselves rather than what we're trying to put out there. So as far as our labor is concerned, so.
Right. It's not very often we get long weekends together.
Yeah, exactly.
It's Labor Day long weekend up here for us in Canada as well.
Nice.
Yeah, like the thing, it's a long weekend. Get out of your screen, go spend some time with your family, spend some extra time with your kids at the park, like go for a walk, do something. This is very hard for all of us to wrap our heads around, but trust me, you can log out of your computer and the world will still be there when you come back, even if it's been 3 or 4 days. You might have 40 or 50 messages to attend to, but the world will still be there when you get back.
Thank you. Thank you. All right, brother. I'll go ahead and end this episode, and I appreciate you jumping on. This has been a really good one. Yet another amazing interview, and completely different. Each interview is different, and they each have their own value and perspective, and that's why I love doing this. This is so. All right, thanks again.
Thanks for having me, John.
All right.